Alright, what's up everybody? It's your boy Keenan. Welcome to today's vlog. Gonna head off to the AFC East division and give you my grades for each team for their selections of this year's NFL draft. Now I'm gonna kick things off with the New York Jets. Now they pretty much rolled the dice with their first three selections of this year's draft. Starting with their first pick, Quentin Copos out of UNC. This kid has a tremendous upside and I think he could become an elite athlete, good defensive end in the National Football League. But he gets lazy at times and takes plays off. He even admitted himself that he's been dealing with a lot of senioritis last season and he gave up a lot of plays. He only racked up 7.5 sacks his senior season compared to 10 sacks his junior year. I think he needs to stay motivated and play 100% and become an every down defensive end for the Jets. But we will see. Hopefully he gets motivated, not think about the money, and stay focused on the game and give it his all every play and just leave it all on the field. Now on their second pick, they picked up Stephen Hill, the wide receiver out of Georgia Tech. Now this kid, he did run a 4.3 40, tremendous speed, and he had a great workout at the draft combine. The thing that concerned me though is that he only had 49 receptions in his career at Georgia Tech. Yes, he was a deep ball threat, over 20 yards per grab, but because he wasn't utilized as a receiver, he was used more as a blocking receiver because Georgia Tech did run the triple run option play that they ran as one of the top rushing offenses in the nation. Now I think he's a great blocker. He did open up holes for the running backs and helped out the quarterbacks as well. But as a receiver, we don't really know how he's going to make the transition to the NFL from a blocking receiver into more of a receiving receiver. Yes, he runs a 4.3 40, great speed. Yes, he had a good workout, especially with his route running abilities. But I'm not 100% sure as a pass catching type receiver based on the stats that we've seen, 49 career receptions. I'm not really feeling that. So like I said, they were rolling the dice with both these players. Also, their third pick, they went with Demario Thomas, the defensive end slash outside linebacker out of Arkansas State. This kid has a strong upper body, but the thing that concerns me is his tackling ability. He has weak technique in his tackling skills. He did rack up 70 tackles this past season and 93 the season before, but he's kind of bad with his tackling technique. And in the NFL, most of these running backs are just going to brush him off, and I just think he needs to work on that, and I think he could become a good asset for the New York Jets. But I think all three of these players are good athletes, but like I said, they pretty much roll the dice with all three of them because they do have other issues. Now, they did pick up a good running back in the later rounds, Terrence Ganaway, the running back out of Baylor. He weighs 240 pounds, but he does run a 4.65 40. He just needs to increase his speed up a little bit, but he had a great year last year, 1,500 yards to go along with 21 rushing touchdowns. I really think he could be a great asset to the running back tandem with him and Sean Green. Both these players are going to be bruising running backs, and I think both these players are going to give each other opportunities to get breathers, and I think this is going to be a great addition. Now, I mentioned Stephen Hill, the wide receiver from Georgia Tech. They also picked up a great receiver out of Western Michigan in Jordan White. He runs a 4.7 40, and that's why his stock dropped this past season, but he did have over 4,200 yards receiving in his career and 32 touchdowns, and I think the Jets can definitely use him like him and Ganaway. Both these players just need to increase their speed. Now, overall for this draft that they had, I'm going to go with the Jets with a C+. I think they had a pretty solid draft. They did roll the dice with their first three selections, but I think it could come out to be a good thing or a bad thing, but we will see. I'm going to have to give them a C+. Next team to talk about, the Buffalo Bills. I really think they had a solid draft. Starting with their first selection, a little bit of a question mark for me. They picked up Stephen Gilmore, the cornerback out of South Carolina. He's a great cover corner, and he's a safe pick. I really think Janoris Jenkins and Dre Kirkpatrick are more athletic and have more skill than Stephen Gilmore, but he is more of a safe selection, and he did have a great workout in his pro day, and that pretty much boosted up his draft status. Also, the reason why the Buffalo Bills picked him up is because of Tom Brady of the New England Patriots. When you're playing in this division and playing against Tom Brady, they're going to need help in the secondary, and that's why they went with a cornerback. I thought they either should have went with an offensive tackle or a receiver like Michael Floyd out of Notre Dame for this selection, but they decided to go straight to the defense and help out that secondary. Overall, I think it's a decent pick. It is a little bit of a question mark though. But they did address the offensive line in the later rounds. They picked up Cordy Glenn, the guard slash tackle out of Georgia. This kid can probably start right away at the left tackle position. And in the fourth round, they picked up Zerby Sanders, the guard out of Florida State. This kid, hey, he has a nice frame, 6'5" and 320 pounds. I think he could work his way up and be a starting role later in his rookie season for the Buffalo Bills. Now, overall for this grade, I'm gonna have to give them a B. I really like all three of these selections, but they did. I forgot to mention they went with the receiver with T.J. Graham out of NC State. I think this could be a great addition. I think they picked him up a little bit too early, but Stevie Johnson does need a guy to work alongside of him, and I think T.J. Graham can be that guy. He does have a little bit of potential, and I think this is going to be a great opportunity for him to work alongside Steve Johnson. But overall for this team, I'm going to give them a solid B. I do like their draft picks. Next team to talk about, the New England Patriots. I love their picks. Starting with their first pick, they picked up Chandler Jones, the defensive end out of Syracuse. This was a little bit of a question mark because he only played 7 games last season, but he has like Quentin Coples, he has a big upside, big frame, 6'6", runs a 4.8 at the defensive end position. That's pretty fast in my opinion. I think he can catch up to any running back and wreak havoc in that line of scrimmage. The second pick, they picked up Dante Hightower out of Alabama. Now he's going to be pretty much all over the field on the defensive side because Gerard Mayo is going to be that middle linebacker position, and they're going to use Hightower all over the field, rush in, maybe even step up at the defensive end position. Maybe, highly doubted, but I think he's going to be a little bit all over the field in different defensive schemes. Now both of these two players, Jones and Hightower, this is going to be a great addition to that defense because defense was a major need last season. Last year, the defense was uncharacteristically deficient last year, and I think Bill Belichick addressed this issue with their first 2 selections. And I really think with the ammunition that they had in this year's draft, they had many picks, and they did some great trades to pick up both these players in the first round. And I really like their first 2 picks. They also picked up another defensive end, Jake Batequick out of Arkansas. This kid did have 10 sacks this past season, and he can play both the 4.3 40, also the 3.4 40. And I really think that because of his versatility, Bill Belichick is definitely going to like this kid. And at the safety position, they picked up Illinois' Tavon Wilson. He had solid speed, and I think he could be a good addition to that secondary, and they still need some more help. I think they need to make some trades and probably pick up a player at the free agency for that the secondary to help them out a little bit, because in that Super Bowl, that secondary pretty much flattened going towards the end of the game, and that was pretty much the reason why they lost to the New York Giants. Now, overall for this team, I'm going to give them an A-. I love their selections and what they did in the draft, especially with Jones and Hightower. That's a big upgrade on that defense. Now, finally, I want to talk about the Miami Dolphins. I had a couple question marks about this team, especially in one particular pick. But I'm going to start with their first overall pick. At number 8, they went with Ryan Tannehill out of Texas A&M. This was an obvious selection because owner Stephen Ross, he was definitely eyeing on getting a quarterback with their first selection. And plus, Mike Sherman is now the new offensive coordinator for the Miami Dolphins. And he already has a relationship with Tannehill because he was the head coach at Texas A&M. So I think Tannehill, this was an obvious choice for the Miami Dolphins, but I do not think that Ryan Tannehill is ready to start right away. So I think Matt Moore is going to get that start now for the first couple of games. It depends, because Matt Moore had a pretty good year at the end of the stretch that he ended up leading the Dolphins to a 6-3 record. So he's looking to fight and stay up front of that quarterback position. Now they also went on the offensive line side. They went with Jonathan Martin, the tackle out of Stanford. This is a great addition because he has good feet. Some people even think that he has better feet than Jake Long, and I really think this is going to help upgrade that offensive line with him, Jake Long, and Mike Pouncey out of Florida. I really think all three of these players could work well together and be an elite offensive lineman in the National Football League. Now they picked up 2 other players from the Miami Hurricanes, starting with Oliver Vernon. I think he could become a decent pass rusher in the National Football League, but he is a little bit of a project, didn't have too much productivity while he was at Miami. And they picked up running back Lamar Miller. This kid has a lot of speed, but I'm very shocked that they picked up to this kid because they already have 2 good running backs, especially with Reggie Bush coming back from a 1,000-yard season last season. Now he did use Tony Sparano's administration on the offensive side, but Mike Sherman is still going to, I still believe that Mike Sherman is going to use Reggie Bush as that top back, the feature back for the Miami Dolphins because of what he did last season, averaging averaging just under 5 yards per carry, and he had over 1,500 yards of total offense. I really like the comeback of Reggie Bush last season. Also, they have Daniel Thomas, and I think he's going to be a bruising running back for the Miami Dolphins. Give Reggie Bush a little bit of a breather, and I was pretty much concerned with the picking Lamar Miller, because this was an awful pick and an awkward one, because Lamar Miller is a high talented player, but they already have 2 good running backs for this team. So I do not understand what Mike Sherman was thinking when they decided to go with Lamar Miller. I don't even know how he's going to use him when he already has a home run threat in Reggie Bush. Now, the thing about Lamar Miller, another thing is that he is a good running back. He is a home run threat like Reggie Bush, but he is not a good inside runner. Also, he's coming off shoulder surgery, and he is not a receiving type running back. And in the National Football League, it's becoming a pass-happy league. You have to be able to catch the football, and Lamar Miller kind of lacks that during his stay at Miami. But he is a home run threat, 1,200 yards this past season, but I don't think this was going to be a good fit for the Miami Dolphins. So overall, for the selections, I'm going to give them a C, mainly because I have a lot of question marks about Lamar Miller. But I think with the other selections with Ryan Tannehill, that was an obvious pick, and Jonathan Martin, I think that was a good pick. I think there was a little bit of a steal in that second round. I'm going to have to give them a solid C for their picks. Now, the next time I'm going to catch you guys is tomorrow to go ahead where I'm going to head west to talk about my AFC West grades for their picks of this year's NFL Draft. Thank you for watching today's vlog from Pro Football Exclusive. I'm your man, Akeem McCall. Be easy.